Okay. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:03. Okay, we'll have roll call. Vicki Bevins.
Here.
Okay, Nick.
Here.
Christy is here. Alan is absent. John.
Here.
Derek.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Okay. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, guys, we have approval of the agenda. There is one agenda change. It would be 10.6, and that's going to change from an action item to a discussion item. Is there anything else?
If not, with that change, I'd motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Nick. Second?
I'll
Vicky.
second it.
Second by John. Roll call vote. Vicky?
Yep.
Nick?
Yes.
Christie's yes. Alan's absent. John?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
And Terry?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes. So board committee and special meeting reports. So we have any other board reports? Do we have any board meetings?
No, we haven't had any committee meetings.
The one meeting we had yesterday, we'll catch up on 10.6. Okay, student rep, not here. And Lori Johnson, are you here?
I am. Are you able to hear me?
Yep, can hear you. Go right ahead.
All right. With staffing, we have Donna Kemp has agreed to be our family literacy specialist for Ogama for the 2021 school year. She'll be working alongside the Waubun family literacy specialist, our district literacy coaches, staff, and community members on some family engagements and goals that are specific to the CLSD grant, and that's the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant. Under staff development, our August in-service days included some staff training for Alice again this year, required yearly training, building meetings, a reverse open house to connect with families, and time for teachers to prepare for the school year in our hybrid model. We also have some students who are doing distance learning as well. So we have a hybrid distance learning model going on. Our PLC groups will continue to work with the literacy coaches this year as our literacy grant continues. And we're going to continue to work on those best practices to increase engagement and support our students and families. As of September 9th, we had 282 students enrolled in Kickstart through third grade at Ogama. I have the numbers there listed as well. And at that time on the 9th, we had 26.2% of students in distance learning only mode. I believe that number has dropped since then. We had the date of yesterday, September 15th, to make changes, and we had quite a few that decided to change from distance learning to hybrid within those couple of days before the deadline. So we are having in kindergarten through third grade, we have 3 sections of all. We have 4 sections in first grade this year, and we have decided that one teacher from each grade level, because of the number of distance learners that we have, one teacher in each grade level is going to be the distance learning teacher. So they are specifically working with and connecting with those distance learning only students, and also helping out on the hybrid side when those kids are on distance learning days as well. We did have preschool screening on August 27th and September 8th, and that was to make up for the one that we didn't have in the spring. We had 26 children screened, and the Flums Lions, they offered their free vision screening again as well. And then under recognitions, just a thank you to all of our office staff in the elementary, high school, and district offices for their hard work and dedication. It's been a challenge to get started with COVID, and everybody continues to work together with that. A big thank you to Travis and Emily for everything they did. And I know Travis has put in a lot of extra hours getting everybody ready with the distance learning as well. So a big kudos out to him. And just, I guess I should mention too that, and I don't have this on here, but our childcare, we're up to 83 students that we currently have registered. And that means that we have 4 different sections every day, Monday through Thursday, and we have 6 sections right now on Fridays, where we try to have between 10 to 12 students in those groupings at a time. So a big kudos out to our para staff as well, because they've been taking on that supervision role, and to Andrea Hagerkamp, our Dean of Students, who has been helping with some of the different activities for all of those grade levels, Kickstart up through 6th grade. So it's been quite a process. And again, everybody, we appreciate everybody coming together with all the hard work that they've been doing. And yeah, just a big thank you to everybody as we've been preparing to start the year in the hybrid and distance learning plans. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope, I was assuming that it was a good year, a good start to the school year. I didn't get or see any negative things out there. So it was a good job for everybody.
Lori, how are the kids doing with the social distancing, the masks or visors, whatever they're wearing? Is that they responding well to it?
They are, yes, all of them. Even our Kickstart students have been responding well. We continue to keep working on some of those reminders because, of course, our kids like to be social people and be close to each other. So we're giving a lot of reminders in that sense. But we have a lot of really good things in place that have been helping with that. And the teachers and paras have been great about working with the kids on making sure that we're doing the best to stay social distance. In the cafeterias, we have 3 spots at a table so that they have that spacing between them. Outside at recess, we're staggering recess, so it's only 1 classroom at a time that's on one side. So we can have up to 3 different groups outside, but we have the playground partitioned off. So we have a rotation going with that as well, so they get to play on both sides throughout the week. So just a lot of different things that we're doing to be creative as we can and still allow them to be engaged. But yeah, Nick, they're doing quite well with the masks and the face shields.
That's good to hear. I mean, the different stuff you guys are doing, that's good. I know that the staff seems to be responding well. Any common themes and complaints or from parents? I haven't heard too much, just a couple, but for the most part, it seems to be going well.
Yeah, no, I've been very impressed with that too. I mean, from food service to the distance learners, families have been very patient. They've been calling in. Our staff they've been amazing to work with the families, and it's a whole new language to try and talk to them over the phone to try and get them to understand how to log into a computer. And we have had some families make appointments so they can come in, and then we're able to show them hands-on, how to log their student in, what areas to look for to help them get into their meetings or their assignments. So I think it's been very good participation from the family and good things to report. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Lori.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you, Lori. Eric.
Well, and I'll start off by saying I'm suffering through one of the things I've been listening to. Can't get my camera to work. I apologize, guys, but can you guys all hear me?
No, you look good though, Eric.
I look as good as always, right? Just a couple of things on the deal here. Staffing, we had a resignation from our new social studies teacher, so we needed one of our current ones to step up. Peyton Mills has agreed to be our new social studies teacher. We were able to find another teacher in Erica Ratz. And then we also agreed to hire as a family literacy specialist, Jen Ladd, and she's been hitting the ground running. She's doing a lot of great stuff. PLC updates. We're going to be focused on maintaining rigor in virtual learning via high engagement practices and effective assessment practices. in continuing the work in understanding by design. I don't know if you guys remember when we talked about understanding by design, but it's basically doing your lesson plans with the goal in mind to start off with. Staff development. Teachers are asked to partake in a Google Virtual Academy. Thank you, Mr. Spaeth, the younger Mr. Spaeth. Thank you, Mr. Peterson and Mrs. Hansana for providing these skills. And then just a tremendous job done by the WOWI Staff Development Committee, by Lori, by Mrs. Weber. Just a lot of great stuff. As you guys can imagine, it was punt time, and I think we provided a good PD for our staff, and I think we provided some good work time for them as well. They gave you guys the numbers as of 9/9. And then, like Lori said, because of the deadline that we had, those numbers are going to be wrong as far as who's distance learning. So that 24.4% is probably less now. We'll run those numbers again, and I'll bring them back to you guys in October. And then, much like Lori did, recognize our custodians, and then our office staff. To this day, they're working pretty hard. Lori's staff is, my staff is, the district staff is, and then again, the district-wide staff development committee. I think they're doing a great job. And then I also want to recognize our teachers. Once again, we've asked them to do nearly the impossible, and they're doing it. So I do want to thank them. And then obviously Travis and Emily, like Lori said. So I think the staff, I think everybody's doing great. I also want to thank you guys as a school board for giving us the support we need. I know Christy contacted Lori and I right away and asked how things were going. So it means a lot. It means a tremendous amount to be working as part of this community. And we're doing it. I agree with Lori wholeheartedly. I think it's going as smooth as can be. I agree with Nick as well. The kids are getting it. The staff is getting it. And I think if we continue maintaining this, I think we're going to be in very good shape for a while there. Any questions for me?
No, actually, it sounds good.
Yeah, it's been very, very good. Like I said, it's a well-run machine, and I thank my staff or our staffs for doing it. And I thank the administrative staff, and as far as our secretaries go, Lori and Lisa, tremendous jobs. So I think we got our information a little late, and we made the best of it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a breeze, but we're making do.
So what happened to our new social studies teacher, though? Did he take a different position somewhere, or?
I think it was a she.
Was she?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't follow through. She came in and said she was not prepared for the position, and I wasn't going to argue with her. It was one of those things where we needed to move quickly. So I think between Lisa and I, we tried to convince her a different way, and she had made up her mind. So
Okay.
But
Alrighty.
that being said, Peyton Mills is going to provide tremendous services. He came into the ground running. I think I gave him even less time than I gave, most of the teachers, and he's been surviving, or better than surviving. So
That's good to hear.
yeah, he had an arsenal of curriculum all ready for us. So I was impressed with that.
Perfect. We'll have to thank him for us. Okay, so if there's no other questions for Eric, we'll move on to the assessment data coach. I don't think Charlene is on, but is there any questions on the assessments, the grants that are closing out, or anything else on Charlene's report? We'll move on from that, and we'll get right down to the bread and butter. Go right ahead, Michelle.
I actually did not have a written report this month, and I apologize. I completely ran out of time to get one together for you guys, but just briefly update you on kind of what we've been working on from the business side of things. Wrapping up the audit work, there's a motion on here to do a fund balance transfer. We ended up with just a slight deficit in community ed. So what I'd like to do is keep that at a zero balance. So I'd like to move that $1,300 out of general fund to pay off that community ed balance, to get rid of that deficit and keep that at zero, because we had zeroed that out last year. And that was, it was a good way to end. We didn't do a ton of summer programming, so that helped keep that deficit to a minimum, but it also took away a lot of our revenue that we were bringing into that program too. And so we just didn't have enough to quite offset some of that. So that's why that ended up like that. Other than that, though, we've been working on just again, a lot of PPE, making sure everybody's got what they need, a lot of last minute orders for books that we don't have enough of, things like that, and a ton of grant work. We've got the governor's gear allocation that we're working on getting the application submitted for. We have the ESSER funding, and then the CFR funding, which is the COVID relief funds from the state also. And so trying to think long-term, aligning those plans and kind of pulling together what we've expended thus far, what fits where, and how we're gonna kind of look to expend the rest of those dollars on what other things we might think are coming. The CFR has a spending deadline, so we're gonna try to do as much as we can through there with what fits, and then roll everything else through the other two. But it's been going well. We are about finished with the title grants, like Charlene had said. The state ran into some issues with their systems, again, and technical difficulties. And so we'll do that final submission here soon. And then other than that, it's just been a lot of just making sure we have staff inputted into the system correctly, getting the first payroll ran. I'm working on gathering all the information I need to do bus payroll for the first time and analyzing a lot of that information. And so just a lot of the start of the year kind of stuff. So, and been very busy that way, and then everything else going on. So.
Okay, good job, Michelle. Thanks for the update. Okay, Lisa?
I also looked at enrollment and did some enrollment trends. If you take a look from 2014 to 2019, we had significant income. We have a dip a little bit this year, but this was second day, and I think our numbers are going to be even higher than this. But with everything that's going on, that's a pretty good solid number for enrollment. I've talked with some other schools that have lost 25% of their kids, 50% of their kids to online learning and other things. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased with, while it was crazy, Lori and Eric both commented about that. It was very busy and chaotic to have people switching from one model to the other model and back. I'm glad that we're getting more back. So it's nice to have more kids in the hybrid model. So that's going well. And the other thing I wanted to just visit about is a virtual NAFIS conference. I know I brought this up before, but it's time for us to get that final registration in. It would be, part of it is learning about impact aid and some of the programs that go around that. But one of the biggest days is the 23rd, when we do the campaigning and lobbying with our senators. So if you're able to do that, let me know. You can do it from your computer this year, no cost. So it's a great opportunity to get involved, to learn a lot, and advocate for our schools and our school needs. And I too, I put my recognitions and thank yous on the agenda, but from every position, every department, everywhere, everyone has worked so hard and is putting 120% in, 150% in. So hats off to everybody for stepping it up and doing what needed to be done.
Any questions for Lisa? Well, thank you, Lisa. I would suggest that if you do get the time to do the NAFIS, even one day is always a good learning experience to help better understand impact aid. It's very much needed. Okay, Paul Clark, are you here? Nope. And does anybody have any questions for Paul? Looks like all of his new dance coaches, baseball coaches and stuff are all in the agenda somewhere, aren't they? Oh, I saw that. Yeah. Okay.
I'd seen an article, they're going to meet either Friday or Monday to see if they're going to resume volleyball and football.
And I did bring that information if you, one of the things that they talked about was increasing membership fees too. And so we're having some dialogue with them. but the annual membership fee was, went up to $160 for every student. Or another fee we have is $109, and that's been consistent. But then the activity fee registration total would be $2,669 plus a November membership fee and a February membership fee, each of those being $2,500. Because they're struggling so much financially, and they talked about us being a co-op, and co-ops support their system. And so the bill went up 300% for most districts. So superintendents had a discussion with a rep from them, and so we're going to set up a meeting with the director and just visit about maybe some other options and things that it's just too big of a hike in 1 year. Thanks for bringing that up, Nick.
So was that for both schools or each?
Each, we are separate members, even though we co-op.
Okay. That's hard. Hard one to take there. All right.
The 3.0 you see there's the rest of my report. You can just go over that. I talked about that. But the next thing you see is a graph on enrollment. Tammy put this together. It just gives you an idea district-wide where people are at. So I won't talk to it again. But there it is. Yep.
So I have some board reports in between, so I'm sorry if I
That's
cut
okay.
you off.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
Do you want to talk more about them or? No, you're good? Okay. All righty. So Dan has his facilities board report. Do you have any issues with that or any questions? Okay. We'll move on to Travis. Travis, do you have anything for us? Okay, that's great. I was in it's called a broadband community thing that was put on that the White Earth Tribe and the Blandon Foundation is putting together, and that's one of the things that they're addressing is the broadband for all in the area. So it was a good Zoom meeting today. And I will send some more of that information because they said that we can invite anybody and everybody who's interested to get online and have that conversation and be a part of getting this up and off the ground. You're going to hear a lot more about it, like on Need You Radio, and it's a lot more marketing that they're going to be putting forward to get that out there and get the word out there so we can get this grant spent. I think that's how they're going to do that. And figure out how to get broadband to all of our kids and elders and whoever needs it in the areas. So it's a good one. So I'll send that information out to you, Travis and Lisa, and to the board members too. If you want to, I think October 10th is the next Zoom meeting for that. So, okay.
Hey Travis, how are the cameras, the temperatures, how are those working out? Well, that's
to
good.
hear.
Thanks.
All righty, so then we'll move on. Does anybody have anything else for Travis? All right. We'll move on to the representatives, non-certified and certified, neither are here. So we'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Motion.
Motion by Nick,
Second, Derek.
second by Derek. Roll call vote. Vicky,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Christie's a yes, Alan's absent, John,
Yes.
Derek,
Yes.
and Terry.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes. Recognition. 7.1, thank you to all of our office staff in the elementary, high school, and district offices for their hard work and dedication as we have started the new school year. Thank you to our hardworking custodial staff who made our buildings look great. Thank you to the members of the district-wide staff development committee for their planning and what I think was a great week, hard work and staff development. Thank you to all the department leads who have been working for months to create a safe learning plan. Dan Gunther, Travis Gary, Christy Waltz, Deb Lewis, Kelly Kent, Michelle Heisler, Deja Anderson. Also, thank you to our administrators, Lori Johnson and Eric Martinez, for their dedication and leadership. Thank you to Cassandra Hassana, Dave Peterson, and Jordan Spade for their work on developing the virtual learning modules for staff. Thank you to Travis Gary and Emily Olson for all they did over the summer. Thank you to Travis for making our start possible. Thank you to White Earth Nursing and Monoma Public Health for being great health partners and developing great health, safety, and crisis response plans with us. Thank you to the parents, community businesses, and community members who are being flexible and working with us to offer education and related services during very different times. I'd also like to actually take a minute and to thank the parents that are being helpful, understanding, and getting information to their kids and being supportive of the school and all these efforts. That's a tremendous help when they do that.
And then we have a student rep that's.
Sunshine wants to go back to student rep.
did I not see something?
No, she came late.
Oh, okay. So Sunshine, you want to go right ahead? We'll go back to 5.2.
Am I just saying what the students think about this whole thing? Like how we feel about it?
What was your question?
Am I just saying like how we feel about school right now?
Well, if it's good.
Yeah, no. One thing we really do like though is the 7 class period days and the longer periods. We enjoy those better than the 8 period days and then the block days. So if we ever do go back, we're hoping to keep the 7 period days. That was one thing. And that was about it.
Okay. Well, take note of that, Eric. Thank you, Sunshine. I'm glad to hear that the kids are they wearing the masks. Do you see, how's that working with PPE? Are they, doing well with it? Are rebels out there?
We all don't like wearing masks, but everybody still wears their mask. Like we complain about it, but everyone still keeps their mask on for the most part. Yeah.
Good for you.
We appreciate that. Anything else, Sunshine?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. It was just the 7 period day things. That was the number one thing.
Well, thank you for popping in. It's just, I didn't know you were here. So,
Sorry for being late.
no, that's okay. We'll see you next month.
Am I free to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can. Thank
Okay,
you. All righty. And is there any other recognitions? And I think that's where I left off.
I'd like to say a thank you, a special thank you to Nicole Kent. She helped facilitate the water bottle sales. The PTSO bought some for 4th through 6th. I know she was involved in the, I believe, pre-K through 3rd one as well with community development and a bunch of other people that donated towards that.
I'd just like to echo what Christy said. I mean, we all talked about how everyone would respond and hoped everyone would do well. And it's really encouraging to hear the staff here and everyone talk positively about the staff, and everyone is picking up that rope and pulling on the same rope, and the parents too heard a lot of good things, and it's very encouraging and very good to hear about our community and our staff in the district.
I agree. Anything else? No? Okay, well, we'll move on to public comment, which I don't have any, unless there's somebody out there. I better check before I move on again. Okay. All righty. We have no old business, but new business. We have 10.1, approve the collective bargaining agreement between Independent School District 435 and local union AFL-CIO 3265.
I didn't, Tammy emailed you out the full contract, but I didn't have her copy it for today because there really wasn't any language changes. It was just the date of the contract. But where the changes were, if you can see the notes there, is the rate of pay on Schedule A. Year 1, there was an increased wage of $1.25. In year 2, 75 cents. And then for longevity, added $375 to the 16 to 20 years plus, and made those retro. And then other than that, it was duration. So as Al said at our last meeting, it was probably the quickest, most uncomplicated negotiations we've had.
I like those. Just get right to the point and no haggling. All righty, so do I have a motion to accept?
Motion, Derek.
Motion by Derek. Second? Second by John. Okay, is there any other further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Ellen is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
and Vicky.
Yes.
Motion carries. 10.2, approve KRJB contract for the 2020-21 school year.
There was just a slight reduction because of the change in our athletic events and potential of not having the tournaments, the playoffs in the fall. But otherwise, the contract is the same, just a slight reduction. But I recommend we approve. They do a great job of covering our school activities and our athletics. They just do a great job. It's an annual approval.
Okay.
I'll motion, Nick.
Motion by Nick,
Second, Derek.
second by Derek. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Excuse me. 10.3, approve the e-learning plan for Waubun Ogama schools.
We decided. I'll turn my mic on. We decided that it was a good time to take a look at an e-learning plan so that if we have a snow day when we're on distance learning, or even on a remote day or a Friday, that we have that as an option instead of having to cancel school and then do a makeup. And so with the e-learning, you can use up to 5 days for e-learning plans. And so it's a pretty good option for us, especially as much as we're using technology and technology in the home. So we took some examples, looked at a few other examples, and then put them together. And once again, Cassandra Hassana did a great job of working on this. And so she and her committee, and then they go back and forth, and we go back and forth and did some modifications and changes to make it fit for our district. But it'll be a nice opportunity for us to not have to completely cancel and still hold a school day on a bad day, bad weather day. Are there questions for me pertaining to the e-learning plan?
For me,
There'll be more work to do. We still have some training to do. We have to talk, notify parents. There's a lot more work to go with it, but getting the e-learning plan turned into the Department of Ed that school board approved is the first step. So thank you.
I think that'd be great, specifically because I think we're going to have a lot of snow and weather this year, from what Farmers Almanac was saying. So, do I have a motion to approve the e-learning plan?
Motion, Derek.
Motion by Derek, second.
Terry.
Second by Terry. Further discussion? Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. 10.4, approve the fiscal year 2020 Gatsby 54 assigned fund balance recommendations as attached. In total, $1,317,000 to assigned and $0 to be committed.
Okay, I'll take this one. We typically do this every year. This goes back to kind of the final stages of the audit report. And so what we do is we look at our unreserved, undesignated fund balance and take a look at what projects potentially may need to be funded, things that we're potentially saving up for. It's a way to get some dollars out of the unreserved, undesignated and assign them to certain areas. It doesn't mean that you're gonna necessarily spend them right away or that you're gonna budget them to incur them right away. It's just setting it aside, taking it out of that unreserved, undesignated dollars and saying, we're assigning these dollars to these projects. And so what I've done is I did increase the self-funded portion of the building project, just not knowing where that's exactly going to come in at. We had that number a bit lower last year. And then looking at the potential property purchase of from Vasikas. And then we will be paying for this, and that's the migration for the student software rollover from Skyward to Region 1. And so, and then if you look down, it kind of goes over, it's going to have your also last year's expenses and what we expended out of there. And so what I'm asking for is like Christy said, a total of the 1.317 to be put in the assigned fund balance area. There's nothing for committed at this point. Those are very pointed funds that usually come up from outside donations that are usually, caveated with certain special circumstances or things like that. We had one fund for a few years that was specifically for the library fund, and that fund has been completely expended, so that's why we have 0 there at this point. Does anybody have any questions about this?
No? No? Everybody? Alrighty, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Derek.
Motion by Derek, second.
Terry.
Second by Terry. Okay, roll call vote again. Christie, yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. 10.5, approve preliminary levy certification at maximum. We do this usually every year, don't we, at max?
Yeah, so typically the process has been that, this would be the time when we're looking at the preliminary numbers that the state has ran. I did give everybody the new report. It's dated as of yesterday, and actually just as I was walking out of the office to come out here, they had another new report posted, but I double checked ours and our numbers did not change on that new report. But compared to the report that you had in your board packet, the report that I gave you tonight is just a bit updated, and the change is coming from some issues that the state was having with information rolling over from the long-term facility maintenance side into the levy side. And so the email that we got from the guy that does the levy information at the state said that most of those issues were fixed. They are trying to work out an issue with the 22-23 student information not appearing on the report, but that doesn't affect any of the numbers. That's more of an informational thing. So they're working to fix that kink yet, and hopefully that'll be out by tomorrow. But at this point, what we do is we kind of look at those preliminary numbers. We have a chance to do the final certification come December after truth and taxation. And so my recommendation always to the board at this point is to look at levying the max. And because that allows you to let those limitations change and fluctuate as the state is rerunning information and you get the best and most accurate numbers. If we were to, decide to under levy in a specific area at this point, you would still have time when you do your certification to potentially make some changes. But it definitely limits you to what you're able to do come certification time. And so if you look at page 31 in your packet, and I believe yours are double-sided. So the one thing that I want to point out to you is that we are not asking for the levy authority for career and tech again for this year. So that number does not show up on the levy reports. That is 100% local levy. At some point, when you guys are ready to look at maybe bringing that levy back, we can do that. But for this year, again, I had said no to that. And then the other one that we typically under levy is the safe schools. And so I've made a note off to the side there. Overall, with the numbers where we're sitting at right now, it's 12.89 increase in the general fund, and just a slight increase in Fund 4, and then a decrease in the debt service fund by 13.74%. And so overall, that brings our total levy actually decreasing by almost 4%, or that 3.93. If when we get to the final certification time, we look at not levying for the safe schools dollars, because that is 100% local levy. So that lessens the tax burden for our constituents. We would bring that percentage down to about a 5.87% decrease across the board, or we're looking at about a 7.42 increase for the general fund. And again, those numbers will potentially change slightly, but at this time, that's kind of where we're at. And so you can see dollar-wise, we're at just shy of $57,000 decrease, with the majority of that coming from the general fund, or the debt service fund for the debt service payments. Does anybody have any specific questions? There's a ton of information in this report. For any of the board members that want more details on some of the levy stream calculations, anything like that, we can go through this report in more detail. But page 31 is a good, nice summary page. It compares last year's numbers to this year's numbers and gives you the changes. And then if you look back through those next pages up to the end of the report, it just gives you a ton more detail of what applies in which categories and things like that. And so if you look at page 35, that is going to give you some categories where like the safe school sits. And so you can see, so line 359, you can see that our 1920 limitation was the 26,186.40. Our certified levy, we did 0. So we under levied in that category. And then for the 2021 limitation, which is the one that we're talking about now, we would be looking at the 28,173.60. And so just showing you kind of where that number comes in the details of things. And then of course we get some back and forth year-to-year adjustments towards the back pages. But like I said, there's a ton of information that's calculated in this report. It drives a large majority of our revenue, as far as the tax side of things and collecting the revenue from the county and things like that. So for those of you that are maybe a little bit less familiar, again, we can go over this in more detail if you have specific questions. But at this point, I think that would be our recommendation, is to levy the maximum.
All righty.
Motion.
Motion by Nick. Second by Derek. Second by Derek. Okay. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion passes. Okay, 10.6, this is a discussion item, so we will move to discuss the prime contractor tariff requirements as presented. So I'll let Lisa take care of this.
Yep, I got it. I think I'm going to turn this over to ICS in a few minutes to talk about the amounts of taro and what the different requirements are, and how that impacts in our district. You've got handouts that look like this. They were handed out tonight, so they look like this. ICS at the top. Yep. But we did, we found out late in the game, we had done some checking to find out whether we needed, if you recall, I think Christy asked me a couple of meetings, what about taro? And we found out, had checked with some of our legal counsel and said, nope, schools are exempt. And so that's the direction we went with, and felt that we were in a good spot. And then found out late in the game that we are not exempt from in their eyes anyways. And so we are now looking at what would the tariff requirements be, and then we're also to enter into discussion with the tariff coordinator and visiting with them about what some options are for us, because there's been some inconsistency of who's had to pay and when. And so there's reason why we thought schools were exempt, because the schools around us in the past projects taro has not been applied to. And so regardless, I think ICS is moving forward with and has the plan in place to meet the requirements. And then as a school district, we're visiting with them to see what the expectations are, what's going to be the implications in the future, and how exactly is the school exempt, but the contractors aren't, because it still affects the school. So just trying to work through that and figure that out. But we had a very good meeting yesterday, and it was a good start to what I hope is some good dialogue and conversation. Did you want to add to that, Christy?
No, that's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so then Justin or Jason, Jordan?
Yeah.
Who's going to lead?
Well, thank you, Lisa. So I guess what you have with the ICS title on top, in the event that it's determined that we do need to comply with TARO, obviously we want to understand what the impact is going to be to us. So I sent out an RFP to all the prime contractors. There's some verbiage under the description on top. If this turns into a change order, it would require the contractor to fully comply with TARO. On August 24th, the TARO office sent letters to each prime contractor, and they would have to sign the compliance plan agreement sent by the White Earth Reservation. So what we're seeing here, what I have highlighted, if you go down to the second page, you'll see that it's right up approximately 90. This computer's a little bit slow, so bear with me. $92,542. That's basically the 2% tax plus a 10% overhead and profit markup, which they would be entitled to. Then also there's some verbiage. There's some verbiage here. If TARO labor would be furnished, and there's any costs associated with, like administrative costs, training costs, things of that nature, they'd be tracked on a time basis, and of course the district would pay the actual cost that would be incurred. It wouldn't come to the district until it's fully vetted by ICS. Talk to all these contractors. They're open to handling it this way. Yeah, if we do have to go this route, I think we have, like Lisa alluded to, I think we have a good plan in place. Any questions on that?
I think that White Earth, if I'm assuming correctly, they were open to a little bit of negotiation to, try to help solve this issue. I did get an email this morning, and I just sent it to Lisa, and I apologize for not getting that out earlier, from the TARO coordinator that said that they had sent it to their tribal attorney to get an opinion on that Montana versus
USA. That's a Supreme Court case that really spells out that if you're a landowner, even on reservation lands, that the property owner, that they don't have any authority over your decisions and over what you do. And so that's what, when we checked with our attorney and asked him, how do we stand? That was one of the cases he cited when looking at the information, and said that we could go ahead and share that. And so that's where we're at this process, is just seeing where we're at and seeing, now it's in their wild card to see what they think about it. And then we'll head back and hopefully be able to negotiate. The other handout you have, Justin and I also gave him the one with just the 2%. So the other hand you have is the exact same thing, except it doesn't have some of that overhead.
Overhead and profit, yes. This is the original contract amount that we entered in with each of these prime contractors. And then it sums on the bottom, total construction valuation, then itemizes out 2% of construction valuation.
And that's closer to the number that White Earth TARO office was looking at. They weren't really costing out the rest of the things. So we still have room for dialogue, and I think room for, I hope, some reconciliation.
Right. Any other questions? Any questions on that?
Okay. Christy, just one, would this be the maximum then of the thing that they would go to? That would be maximum. We wouldn't get stuck with anything else down the line then. Okay.
No, what they're doing is not on the whole $7.1 million contract. They're just taking out the construction costs, and that's what they're assessing it to, would be the 4.1 million, I think, or I just had that. The 4.1 million, that's what they're assessing the 2%
Okay,
to. Normally, if, we wouldn't really see this, would be taken care of on other projects and stuff. It would never come back around this way.
okay,
It would have been actually done in a pre-bid process. So it would go as a special consideration for when we do get the bids. And then, when they see that all these contractors have worked on the reservation before and have worked with Terrell. So, some were expecting it, some were, surprised, some were, it just was,
yeah, I just so they don't come back around again, later on or something like that, okay.
well, and in that meeting yesterday, with Esther Ames and Sandra St. Clair and Mary Riegert came in. And then Secretary Treasurer Alan Roy came in for briefly, that they are open to the school's dilemma. They know that what dilemma that we're in. We have these funds allocated elsewhere. And so that was where, and we were also asking the questions, why now? Why not on other projects? Why not Monoman? Why not, some of these other area schools? Well, the BIA schools or the BIE schools were Terrell. Many of the tribal projects that were in, they were under Terrell. So, that's what we were, they explained that. And so we just kind of both put our cases together, and listen to each other and try to get to some sort of middle ground. This is not going to be solved tonight, tomorrow. I don't even see it being solved in the next month or two.
Okay.
We just have to try to see what we can do to come to some kind of agreement where Terrell applies and then to get a concrete answer from the tribe on our projects and any future projects that we have, if Terrell does indeed apply, so that's the big question.
One thing I'd like to add, if you go to the that summary sheet page with the ICS on top, so this would be the 2% fee or the 2% tax that would be paid to the Terrell office. However, there would be labor implications as well, because the contractor would have to follow the Davis-Bacon wage rate or the prevailing wage rate that was furnished in the compliance plan agreement, and there's administrative costs involved in administrative costs and training, stuff like that. So there's some additional costs with the labor too. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, that would be an additional cost because I think their prevailing wages is significantly higher than normal around here. Okay.
Yes, you had to wait a long time to get to you. You can check out if you want. Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jordan. Okay, is there any other questions regarding that? I think that when we have another meeting, Al was part of that conversation yesterday, but when we're going to meet again in the next couple of weeks, he's unable to. So if one of you three, and Vicky or Terry, would like to, we can only have one more, which Derek and I actually are part of that, but we need one more. So get a hold of Lisa if you are interested in being a part of that tarot conversation.
When would that be? Within the next?
They didn't really say.
Okay.
So, okay, guys. 10.7, approve fund balance transfer from unassigned fund balance 422 to 431 Community Education Fund in the amount of $1,331.86 to bring the deficit to zero. I think Michelle had talked about this earlier.
I did, yep. And so I just provided the unaudited UFAR's data summary. This is a report that comes back from the state after we submit all of our information. And I did highlight where it does talk about the community education fund, and you see the negative 1332 there. That's what we're trying to bring back down to a zero. So
Motion.
Motion by Nick.
Second.
Second
I'll
by
make a second. Oh, go ahead.
Second by John. Okay, roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
And Vicky?
Yeah.
Motion passes. It looks like on 10.8, there's the coaching hires.
I asked Paul to get winter and spring coaches to us since spring practice is next month. So he did get a list of everyone. The ones that are in bold are the new hires. And at the top, I was looking for that. And then junior high volleyball is new too. So Alex and Megan are going to share a position for junior high volleyball. And then we have 2 new dance coaches, Samantha and Amy. And then an assistant coach for baseball, Tim Spade.
All motion.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Nick. Further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Alan is absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. 10.9 is approve a lane change request for Courtney Weston.
Courtney goes from a BA 30 to an MA, taking courses that were on her transcript that were germane to her teaching assignment. So recommend approval.
Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Derek. Second.
Second.
Second by Nick. Roll call vote. Christie's yes. Alan's absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
Motion passes. So we have succeeding meetings. The travel consultation was
That
held-
actually is already done. We just had it on there because it was when the board packet went out. I wanted people to know.
Okay.
And then coming ahead, we've got federal public programs hearing and the regular school board meeting, October 21st. And typically, we've had to change that October one once in a while because of MEA break. We do not have to do that this year, so it doesn't fall in the same week. So that will stay as scheduled. But federal programs will be at 5 o'clock.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? Any further discussion? Alrighty, thank you, guys. I will ask for a motion to adjourn at 7:07.
Motion, Derek.
Motion by Derek, second.
Vicky?
Second by Vicky. Roll call vote. Christie's a yes. Ellen's absent. John?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Derek?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 7:07. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Nick?
Yes.
Vicky?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 7:07. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.